Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being patient and holding. As I put you guys on hold and was waiting for a few others to join in, my audio just dropped off. So hopefully now everyone can hear me, and let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to be doing is covering like a fundamentals beginners course. Just going to try and get into detail as much as possible here. At the same time, if you're working off two screens and would like to log in and build as we go along, feel free to do so. So go ahead and log into edge.mortgagecoach.com. Most of you, or you should, have your username and password. And we'll go ahead and get going from here. A few things I'd like to point out right before we get into building the presentation is under the help section here. If you click on help, I'm going to click on help now. Okay, this will take you to what we call our Zendesk. Okay, and my internet just happens to be running really slow, or my connection is coming slow. Okay, so I'll wait for that to pop up. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, but I'll show you the help section here in a second. Okay, the next thing that I'd like to point out too is that under the settings section, you want to make sure that all your information is in here and is in detail. Okay, because any information that is in here appears on any presentation you send to your client. In other words, any total cost analysis that goes out to your client is listed in here. All right, so I just want to point that out. You can add your image and logo in here. If any of you ever have, a situation to where the image is not sizing properly, always feel free to email support@mortgagecoach.com, not just for your image and logo, but for any questions you may have. It's support@mortgagecoach.com. So a couple of things that I want to point out. Okay, and anytime that you are creating a new client, because some of you that are on here for the first time, you're just starting your very first presentation. Completely okay, this is what this class is built for. Okay, I'm not sure why I'm getting an error code. My internet is just giving me some problems, and my screen continues to freeze on me. Just bear with me one second. Okay, let's move forward here. My screen was freezing up. I truly apologize about that. Okay, so anytime you're working with a new client, you want to start a fresh presentation, you go ahead and click on New Client. Okay, the one I'm going to show you today is already pre-built, so feel free to use everything that's built in there if you're building from scratch. And the reason why I'm showing you one that's pre-built is it'll allow me to train you at a much quicker pace, but also able to follow along in a formal fashion here. So I'm just going to use John. It's one we use on many of our training sessions, and we are going to create an FHA versus conventional. A few things to point out in here is anything that's highlighted in red, not just listed in this page. So the channel page is listed down below, client, goals, assumptions, any one of these pages. Anything that is listed in red will complete a presentation for you. If you choose not to fill those section in, it's completely okay. The more information you put in there is the more information will appear on the total cost analysis. So I just like to point that out, fill this information out. The majority of you are going to be using this just as an individual. An individual meaning whether it's for a one-person purchasing a home, a married couple purchasing a home, 3-4 people purchasing a home. That's just individual. It's a lot of what you guys do today, right? I mean, you're just kind of used to it. What we're sending them today is an Excel spreadsheet or some sort of attachment through email. Okay. Okay. If you choose to and would like to use Mortgage Coach Edge for marketing purposes, you can click on the Marketing tab. The only thing that changes here is instead of putting your client's name in, it's a report headline. So you can call this, today's FHA conventional rates, anything of that sort. I mean, you can headline it. There's many, many avenues and strategies we have. And that's why I want to show you the help section, because there's all sorts of strategies you can use for marketing presentations, and you can send those out to your realtors, post on your Facebook, whatever it is that you're using for marketing today. For now, I'm going to go back to individual, okay, and point out a few other things listed here on this page. On this page here, too, you have own and rent, and I'm pointing out, some really important pieces here. So if you're taking notes, these are great notes to take as well, okay. Under the Own section, it always defaults to this. And in the Own section, you can create any purchase transaction, in other words, any purchase total cost analysis, or refinance total cost analysis, anything of that sort. You may have a client who rents, okay, but you just want to show them purchase options. So you simply leave it on Own, okay? But what about the clients who are on the fence and you want to present a rent versus own presentation? In other words, you're putting in their current rent factors, okay, and then you're going to show them a few purchase options as well, 1, 2, 3. It's entirely up to you. But then that's when you would click on the rent button, okay? Next thing that I like to really point out is partner email. Okay, partner emails. At any time you would like, let's just use this as an example. Let's just say you had a referral from your realtor, okay, and he refers you as a client. You put a total cost analysis together for this client, and remember, every time your client views a presentation via the link you sent them, and I'll show you that toward the end here, you're going to get an email alert. It's going to let you know that your client viewed the presentation and how long you viewed it for. Well, you know, with realtors and the feedback we get from the mortgage coach community is my realtor really loves it because I, the originator, I'm not the only one getting alerted, but my realtor's getting alerted too. So build some excitement. And how does that work for future referral business for me? Because you're getting alerted, letting you know the client viewed it so you can follow up with that client, but the realtor's getting alerted, and if they would like to follow up with the client, they can do so as well. So you would drop your realtor's email in there. That's just one example, okay? Moving on to the next screen here, you notice how I clicked on the arrow to the right. You can feel free to click on that arrow or just simply move from client to goals. Keep it that simple. All right. One simple thing to point out on this page here. Purchase new home. We are doing a purchase transaction. We're going to show FHA versus conventional. If you did not have this box checked, okay, the system will default to a refinance. Any one of these other boxes, lower interest rate, any one of the other boxes there will also default to a refinance transaction. In other words, you will be presenting a total cost analysis that's a refi versus a purchase. Anytime you create a purchase, the only box that needs to be checked is this box. And you're just telling the system to make it the default to purchase. I'm simply going to arrow through. As I point out the arrows and move through, you can make live changes. So once you send your client a total cost analysis, those live changes that you make, in other words, maybe the purchase price here went from $325 down to $300 or up to $335. If I needed to change that to show my client that, I would simply do so. But I would always have to refresh the screen. What I mean by refreshing the screen is that's where these arrows come in if I made a change, or you can use the channels listed down below as well, okay? You notice on this page here, property value or purchase price. Obviously purchase price because we're doing a purchase transaction. As I mentioned before on the first page, the more information you would like to put in, the better for you, the better for your client. You can get as complex as you roughly like to be, or you can keep it as simple as you want it to be too. So when they built Mortgage Coach and they turned it into Mortgage Coach Edge Live, they wanted it to be built for you. Make the system work for you. So if you skip through these pages and didn't fill anything out, completely okay. We're not going to hold you back from moving on to the next page or completing the presentation. We want you to be very comfortable in the system as you move through the pages, okay? So you can also fill out these other sections as well. You do have here too Freddie and Fannie lookups for those of you who are still needing to look that up. It just takes you to those pages there. So something to to have kind of easy access to, if you will. Another thing I like to point out while we're on this page, but you notice as I arrow through some of these pages, you have the yellow note section here. So let's just say the client says, we're kind of looking for a purchase price between, $325 and $350. You can make that note. Any notes that are listed in here or for yourself. So your clients will never see inside of Edge. They will only see the total cost analysis that you send them. Also keep that in mind too. It's just kind of, keeps you in the game with them and knowing what their goals and their wants and their needs are as well. So I'm simply going to move over to the next page here. And I get onto the affordability section, okay? So just kind of to quick recap here, client goals, assumptions, and affordability. And I'm pointing this out for the fact that these first four channels listed down below, these are qualifying questions. If you take a look at these questions, you're asking your clients on a daily basis, right? You're hunting down for clients constantly. You're asking them these questions every single day. So this is listed in here for you to help them get to their goals, their wants and their needs. Another way to kind of look at Mortgage Coach Edge, the Edge platform we're in here, is that if you break it down into a simple three-step process, it really helps you understand your flow, okay? The flow of how you create that total cost analysis for your clients. So I like to break it down to where client, goals, assumptions, affordability as step number one, all my clients' information. And then I can do my job and perform and present to them, their loan options, their finance options. On the affordability section here, it's an annual income, okay? So husband and wife, you can combine the income there. A credit status, you have an option of good, bad, excellent. This is just for your knowledge only. It's not going to reflect inside the total cost analysis. And then, of course, you have your non-mortgage debt payment. So feel free to fill that out. Like I said, if you're looking to get really, really detailed, you have to have, exact LTV and DTI and be precise. That's where this page really comes into effect, okay? Savings balance, you can change this as well, the debt payment from monthly to annually if you choose, the saving balance and the interest rate. You also have tax bracket. And we have tax bracket, we may or may not have an idea of that, so you always can simply click on Find Tax Bracket, and it'll take you right to an IRS page with those, the income brackets listed and be able to find that percentage, okay? As I go back into Mortgage Coach Edge, the reason for doing this, it really takes effect, like getting to DTI, LTV is one effect. Another, if you are presenting that rent versus own and you want to show them those tax credits and the benefits of owning versus renting, I mean, there's many avenues and strategies that you can use this page for. The ideal situation today is just kind of to learn the fundamentals, the beginner side of, wow, what is each page, how can each page help me? And what will it do for me, and how it's going to help my workflow. Then in the tax credits here, you can show MCC tax credits as well. Okay. All right. As I move forward to the next page, this is the page for your knowledge as well, right? What would John like to spend? Okay. Just as you would add notes in here as you're learning and qualifying them, this helps you with qualifying as well, right? Max mortgage payment, the ideal payment, right? The client always wants the lowest payment possible, but you just gives you an idea. So when you go into the product section, which we're about to start to view next, you're building this in here so you can always refer back to it. Many times throughout the loan process, right? Clients change their mind, or even through qualifying. They find this other home. That other home they don't even qualify for. This home they do qualify, and there's a bidding war. So this will just kind of help you come back and always be able to say, oh, wow, okay, this is exactly what they're looking for. You can come back and say, remember when we first talked, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is what we discussed. This is what I'm qualifying you for. So just kind of keep that in mind as you go through Mortgage Coach and this Edge platform. As I move on to the next screen, I just want to point out that client, goals, assumptions, and affordability, step number one. When I get into products, that would be step number two, okay? Now, my turn to show my client these loans that they qualify for. Keep in mind, too, when you get to each screen and you're building, you click on new client, every screen is going to be blank, and you're going to be filling this out. And I point that out because this is all filled in for you guys already. The name for this product, if you're building and walking through as we're going along, your screen will then show product number one. Always feel free to change that and name it your own. You can show product one, product two, product three. That's fine. You can show if they're looking at, a brand new home district you build it, right? Model A home, Model B home, Model C home. I mean, there's so many different headlines you can put in there. Ideally, the headline you do put, you want to speak to your client and what you're pointing out to them. So something really to point out to. Okay. Another thing I like to point out is this is a purchase. So you noticed here that it's highlighted no. Just keep in mind when you do get here and you want the system and you default to the system to the refi, that this is checked. Yes, it's a refi. Ideally, we're not changing that because we are doing a purchase transaction. Okay. Add product from templates. In an advanced training course that we offer, we can show you how to build the product in there and save them. And I'll kind of give you a sneak peek on how to do that really quickly and keeping it simple for yourself as well. Okay, so this is an FHA product at 3.5% down. Upfront premium, you want to click on that drop down. It's always defaulted to none, so it'd be like that if you're building from scratch, and you just want to make sure you're telling the system, yes, it's FHA. Okay, we originally, under the goals section, right, we put our purchase price in there, so this automatically populated for us. Okay, you would then put in your down payment. You can do it via dollar amount or by percentage. Obviously, I'm calling this an FHA 3% down, so I'm going to put my 3.5% down there, and then it'll calculate the base loan amount for you. You would drop in your rate and your terms. In any different type of strategy, you can build any sort of loan scenario in here. Conventional, jumbo loan, a construction loan, a down payment assistance, VA, USDA, you name it, 5-1 ARM, 7-1 ARM, interest only, anything of that sort. Whatever you're looking to build is what you can build inside of Edge. If I needed to change my loan type from a fixed to an ARM, I can simply do so. I'm going to leave this fixed, but I do want to show you on an ARM scenario, if I move forward, the next page will ask me for my ARM details. So by clicking on that ARM, then you would put these details in there, okay? I'm not presenting an ARM today, so I'm going to come back and change it to a fix, but I did want to show you that. It's a pretty key factor there, and I'm simply going to move forward. And you'll notice that the ARM page now goes away because I removed that ARM from a fixed. Okay, so in here are your closing costs, okay? So each product or loan scenario that you're building inside of Mortgage Coach, so this is the product that we're technically on right now, okay? Each one has 3 pages. So on the first page that we just left, right, purchase price, down payment, base loan amount, rate, and months, okay? And then in the second page, which is what we're on, it shows and presents a closing cost to you. If you're building, as we're working along, you're looking at everything blank right here. And I'm pointing this out because you can bulk up your fees. So just to throw an example out at you, let's just say your total APRs is $1,500 and your non-APRs is $1,500, right? Just trying to keep it simple through training. I can simply bulk those fees just by simply putting $1,500 in here and $1,500 in there, prepaids, whichever. But so that would show bulk fee. If you want to show itemization, you'd click on closing cost detail. Okay, and here's where you can build your fee templates. By building your fee templates, you would be able to show your client itemization. Okay, some of you originate in one state, some of you originate in multiple states. That is okay. If you click on the state, we have all the states listed in here, so you can build, you know, Alabama, Kansas, California, Washington, and you can build a fee template for each state. If you just originate in one state, okay, then you only have to build fee templates from here. Now I have a list of fee templates in here. Okay, so I would simply look for the fee template that I have built in here. It's just a one-time build, and I'll explain how to get there. But once I have my fee templates in here, now I've helped out my production because I'm never having to build from scratch. Once you build this once, it's always saved in the system for you. So I would click on my fee template, and everything will automatically populate in here for me. Now, if you're building from scratch, you're looking at something that is completely blank here. So you would go down here, add fee, and you click add fee as many times as you like. And you notice I clicked, right, add fee 5 times, and I had all this pop up for me. I would click on the drop down here, and I have a whole list of fees that I can choose from. So you name it, it's in here, okay? If it's not in there for you, then I will show you how to add a custom fee. But you can choose any fee you like. You can set up your percentage or dollar amount. It's one or the other, not both. So you don't want to kind of like double dip, add a percentage and dollar amount, because then it will double up. Okay, so you can do either or. The next thing you want to do is be able to choose whether it's a borrower, lender, seller paid. Okay, And then you obviously would check your APR if it is. For your refinances, right, you're going to finance this fee into the loan, so you'd be checking that box there. And then any prepaid escrows, PPE, prepaid escrows, you'd be checking those boxes there. And like I said, you can customize the fee exactly to you. So the last few loans you closed, be, just a good idea to print out a few of those fee sheets and then start building from here. Technically, you really only have to build one, and then you can build off that one. So, you spend a good 10, 15 minutes building a few fee sheets, because then every time you come back in, they're already built and pre-populated for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete just these fees here, as I was just showing you an example. Okay, and you can delete. Another thing you can do too is once you have this template built, okay, all this is going to remain the same, but you may have to come through and make some edits once in a while because of a particular loan for this particular client. That's okay. You can edit the fee sheet for this particular situation, but the fee sheet that you built in here will always remain the same. So keep that in mind as well. I did mention that if there's a fee in here that you cannot find, or maybe you just like to change the name to your liking, that's okay too. You would add custom fee. Type it in, name it as you wish, and set it up as you wish, okay? Once you add that in here, okay, it'll always remain under your fees library, so you can find it at any time. Or once you add it in there and you want to save it now to a template, then you would click here and save as a template, and you can name it in there as well, okay? And if for those who originate in multiple states, obviously choose your state there as well. Another thing I like to point out here, and many questions that we get asked, is contributions, right? Lender credit, right? If I click Add Fee here, and I click on the drop-down listed below, and I'm going to click the C key on my keyboard here. I'm going to click Contribution. Okay. You want to show a credit here, right? By clicking Contribution here, the logic is already built into Mortgage Coach, and let's just say for training purposes it's $250. So we are now going to show a $250 lender credit. If it was seller, you can change it to seller. But the ideal situation is too, because we do get this question asked quite a bit, is I just typed in the dollar amount. I didn't have to put any negative amount or anything like that, because under the contribution, the logic is already built for you. So just something to kind of keep in mind there, okay? And then when everything's all set and done, as you see, it's all listed in here for you, so you can just kind of double check and make sure that your fees are correct. When I've completed this, I'm going to click Apply to Loan, and everything just populates in here for me, okay? Now, we have Upfront MIP, okay? Once again, if you're following along, this would be blank for you, okay? And you would add in your rate of 1.75, and you definitely want to add it into the upfront loan amount. Okay. In order to get this channel box listed in here, upfront MIP, I'm going to arrow back one page, and under the upfront premium, I did click yes, FHA, okay, or VA USDA single. We're doing an FHA here, so I click that. If I left it at none and I arrow through, you can see where there is no upfront MIP box listed. So it's very key there, and I point that out. It's a good note to take that. This is huge if you need some type of premium in there. So I just put that right back in there, and I'm moving forward. Okay, there's my upfront MIP, and I simply now am done with the second page. And here we go on to the third page here. Okay, now keep in mind I mentioned, right, in every product loan scenario you're building, there is 3 pages. So we went from, right, purchase price, down payment rate, and then into closing costs, and now the third page is monthly costs. So here we have listed HOAs, hazard insurance, property tax. Feel free to put in the dollar amount that you wish, or you can drop in your percentages and it'll calculate accordingly as well. You have monthly MI listed here. Obviously, by dropping in that rate, we'll calculate your dollar amount. Something very key to point out here too is FHA is the length of the loan, so you may want to make sure that you put in the months here at 360. If you're following along and this page is blank for you here, it'll be listed at 0. So you want to make sure that you have 360 months in there. Next thing you do want to make sure is that this box, calculate MI on balance. It starts to decline, through the length of the loan, and I'll show you how that happens in the total cost analysis so your client can view that. But this having this box checked on FHA at 360 month is a key factor. So once again, if you're taking notes, it's a great note to take. Okay. Now, if I'm adding in any reserves, hazard reserves, and I drop in the months there, tax reserves, and I drop in the months there, I'm collecting premiums, that's completely okay. But where's this logic going? How is this added in? Great question, right? I'm going to just answer my own question here, but what I'm showing you here is the reason why I'm pointing this out is because once you add in these months and I arrow back and I go into my closing cost detail, you'll see that it automatically populates for you in here. So it automatically has the logic to be built in when you add in those months. Keeping it very simple, making it smooth transition for you guys. All right? And then we would be done with an FHA 3.5% down. Now, the MC habit would be is that you start sending these total cost analysis to every single client, and when you're inside of Mortgage Coach Edge, you want to make the habit and add it into your workflow that it only takes you to get to a 5-minute process of creating this presentation. Takes time to get there. My advice always is, 2, 3, maybe even up to 5 hours. 5 hours, I say, is a good marking point to where you've invested 5 hours of time. You start sending the total cost analysis to every single client. When you're moving through the system here, you know where everything's at. You're clicking away. Somewhat like, your LOS, right? You get to know your LOS over a period of years. The car you drive, you get to learn that inside and out. The home you live in, right? You learn all the little creaks and noises it makes. It's just because time over time is an investment. So that's a key part of learning Mortgage Coach Edge. All right. In any presentation I build, I can show up to 4 different loan options. Right. In today's training, I'm only showing you 2, but I want to point that out for the fact that 2, there would be a green button here, and I would say add another product. I currently have 2 products built in there, so you won't see that green button in this particular page, but I will show you moving forward where is that listed. Another thing I like to point out too is that I've built this FHA 3.5% down. Okay. Over the last 4 months, 6 months, I must have funded, 5, 6, 7 FHA loans. So I don't necessarily always want to have to build this FHA every single time. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save as Template. I'm going to leave it marked at FHA 3.5% down, so I know that anytime I want to build an FHA, that's where I'm going to. I'm going to click OK. It's been saved in my system for me. Okay, I'm going to arrow back just to the beginning of this, and I'm going to show you Add Product from Template. Remember, I just saved this, okay? So I'm going to click on my drop-down, and it'll save in here for you. Okay, I need to refresh my screen, but you'll see FHA will be saved in there for me. Okay, and you can save as many products as you like in here. So that's a key factor too. You can have a whole bunch of them. So if you're funding, a multiple of different loan scenarios, they can all be saved in there for you. So every time you start to create that for your client, you're just clicking away from here. All right, so let's move on to loan scenario number 2. And this is a conventional 5% down. Okay, so if you're following along this, we are now in the second loan scenario, product number 2, and it'll literally say product number 2. So you want to change the heading to conventional 5% down. You can change a conventional 30-year fix, whatever you're most comfortable with, right? Now, also too, if you're following along, everything is blank here, okay? And I don't want to have to start from scratch. So I'm going to use my copy button, and I can copy from this FHA that I just recently built. If I click OK, this is already pre-built for me, so I'm not going to click OK, but if I did, everything from this FHA just transferred over for me. And now I just have to make minor changes. So the first thing I would do is my upfront premium, I would change to none. Okay, I'm obviously going to change my down payment from 3.5% to 5%. The rate obviously is going to be different, and I put in my terms. And I simply move forward. That is how quickly you move through that page. All right? Into the closing cost section, page number 2 of the second product, closing cost detail. In the first template, we had an FHA. In this template, we would come in here and find our conventional fee template. Okay, so once again, you built this once, and then you make your minor changes and edits in here and change it from an FHA to conventional. Okay, and then I would just simply click Apply to Loan. That simple. I move forward, and I get in here, and I change my percentages if needed. Most of the time, that more likely is going to be the same. Okay, but my MI is obviously going to be different. I'm just going to use this rate for training purposes. I'm sure it's changed a little bit there, but I'm just, basically got to make sure that it is in there because it's only 5% down. Same, months for your hazard reserves and taxes. And I'm going to collect that 3-month premium. Okay. You notice here on the MI months, I left it at 0, so I'm just going to let it cut off at 78%, and I'm not going to calculate that onto the balance because we're not doing an FHA here. Okay. If I wanted to add a third product, I simply would click Add a Third Product, and then it'd take me and from the start to add that third product. If I want to save this conventional template, then I'd click Save Conventional Template, and then it'll be saved in my product template for me. As I move forward onto the next screen, and I see some questions coming in, and I'll start to get to those questions here real soon. I just kind of want to get through the end of the presentation to show you what the final result is, and then we'll start asking the questions as well. So keep the questions coming in, guys. Great questions, by the way. Excuse me. Okay, so we are now on the analysis screen, okay? Still on step number 2, trying to break down the process. Step 1, clients, goals, assumptions, affordability, and step 2, products, analysis, and contact info. All right. Just some few things to point out here. This is basically, we're going to kind of summarize everything for your client. Okay. This is you just being inside of Edge and just making sure everything looks the way you want it to look before we actually send out the presentation. So in the upper right-hand portion, or I'm sorry, excuse me, left-hand portion of the screen, you have a property appreciation rate, short-term analysis set to months, and long-term analysis is set to years. Okay. The default here is going to be 0, and then 60 months and 15 years. Those will be your defaults. I just set the appreciation rate here for training purposes to 3%. One other thing to point out, too, is the short-term analysis is months. Soon in your pipeline, guys, right, in August they're making that change. You have to show the cost over 5 years. Well, inside of Edge, it's always built inside of Edge. It's already built in here for you. So you don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel or try and change up, or your Excel spreadsheet that you send out now. It's already built inside of Edge for you, so take advantage of that. Under the monthly savings here, is what we're showing them is each loan scenario that you're presenting, you're comparing them against each other. So an apples to apples per se comparison, right? Each one is compared against each other. That's where the monthly savings benchmark would come in. You can show them here that you're saving them $25 a month on the FHA, okay? That's the highest default. Or you can compare against and show them actually what it's going to cost them. So if I clicked on conventional, if I clicked on, FHA, okay? Now it's showing them if they went with the conventional, now it's going to cost them $25 a month. So another way, a strategy, an avenue to go down, if you, instead of showing savings, you can show the cost factor. This is what it's going to cost you. This is going to hurt your pocketbook. So just kind of a strategy you can kind of use there if you wish. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it back to highest default. Easy way to change the benchmarks around. And listed down below here, long-term interest in MI paid. Okay, that's the channel that's highlighted here. You can show a net worth. You can show principal paid. It's entirely up to you. Once again, right, you went through the whole analysis here, so you know your client's goals, wants, and needs, and this prompts you to show them exactly that. And you can change this. This is set as right now default to 15 years. Maybe you're doing a 5-1 arm versus a 10-1 arm. Maybe you're doing a 5-1 versus a 30, and you just want to show a cost factor over 5 years or 7 years or 20 years. feel free to make those changes. Another strategy to be used, or just a simple way to explain to your client. You know, you don't have to get a long, detailed email out or 2-hour phone conversation on this. It's just laid out very simple for them. If I wanted to copy this entire analysis and send it off to another client of mine, okay, I would use my copy analysis button, and I would click new client. I'd click OK, and it'd take me to a brand new analysis. So everything I built in here would be saved for me. The only thing I would have to do is maybe, obviously, I would have to change my client name, of course, the property address, and then, you know, purchase price, and then if the rates change or anything like that. But your FHA and conventional, everything you're looking at in here is already built. So you're making some minor changes, and now you're building it, you know, within a 5-minute period down to maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So be sure to make those changes and save those analyses so you can use these for other clients as well. All right. The reinvestment strategy grid. Go ahead and click on that. This grid is going to open up here, okay? And you can, you know, there's many factors in here and ways you can show your clients on the top portion here how to become mortgage debt free. So one example is I added $100 in here. Let's just say that, let's just go to 125. By adding that 125, they'd be able to get to the freedom point and become mortgage debt free in roughly 22 years. So in today's world, clients ask these questions, but then when we go show them, it's pretty long and lengthy in showing, you know, how to get to that point, to where you're simply just putting in a simple dollar amount here, and you can show them that right away. And I'll show you where in the analysis this will appear. Another thing that you can do is, let's just say you're working on a loan scenario and the MI cuts off at X amount of months. So in this section here, you would double click, and the MI is going to cut off in, you know, 121 months, you know, 180 months, whatever the situation may be. So you would add these figures in here, the months and the dollar amount, and you click OK, and basically what's showing your client, hey, the MI falls off in this month, but you want to keep the same payment, and now that MI cost is going to go into the, you know, the reduction payment or the principal reduction of your loan, and then you can show your client how to pay their home off in 21 years, 22 years, whatever the scenario ends up based off the dollar amount you put in here. So it's a huge strategy to be able to use in there as well. Any type of savings account and accumulation you can use in here. Any type of, let's just say, as an example, a money market account or, you know, some IRA or something like that, you can put those figures in here. And I'm pointing this out for the fact that, let's just say, well, is it smarter to add the 125 in here? Or is it smarter possibly maybe to add the 125 here with the rate of return of X? And what's it going to get me on a 15-year period? Okay, is my investment in 15 years going to be greater here, or is it going to pay my home down faster here? In other words, where's my money working smarter, not harder? So you can get, you know, really into this and strategize with this. For those of you who work with financial planners, CPAs, engineers, doctors, absolutely love this stuff. For the first-time home buyers, those clients, right? They need the most education. They have the most questions. So it's not a bad idea to show them, you know, different options like this. Not to confuse them. You want to keep it simple, but it is there for you to be able to show that. All right. So I'm going to move on forward. We're almost to the last and final stage here. This page here, anything you put in here will appear on the presentation. So I can just put city. Okay, anything in here will show. And as I move forward here, I'm going to move on to the presentation screen. I'm going to select report. And a couple of things to point out here. Total cost analysis. You can show seller buy down, amortization schedule, or Fannie Mae export into a 3.2 file if you wish as well. Okay. The ideal situation on the majority of everything you're going to be doing in here is a total cost analysis. These two products, loan scenarios, that we built are listed in here. If you choose to remove one of them, you can do so just by simply clicking that box. What that will do for you is remove it from the presentation, but not your system inside of here. So it'll always be saved in there for you in case you need to come back and add it back in, or maybe you're going to change that now to a 10% down or 20% down, or you're going to do split MIP or anything at that. So you can make those changes, come back and add that in there. And then this is a good section to have too. Estimated tax and insurance are included in your payment. That's kind of key to just kind of add that into the notes. That information will appear in the presentation, just kind of giving the client a warning that yes, it is included. Okay, so in the presentation, lower right-hand corner there, my mouse is hovered over that. I'm moving on to the preview screen here. This is the last and final stage, so step number 3. Quick recap. Step number 1, client goals, assumptions, affordability, all your client information, wants, needs, and goals to help you get them to their dream home, their journey, because you're going to present the product to them, meaning your loan scenarios, product. Now we're in step number 2, analysis and contact. All step number 2, presentation stage, is step number 3. All right, so email link, notify me when this report's viewed, email call button, and send Edge View alert to partner. So just to simply break this down here, just as we do today, you can print these all you want, not a problem. That's why you have it in there, because you are used to printing some of this. Many of you still meet face-to-face, so feel free to print those out. And then you can still save it as a PDF as well and send it over on an attachment. The key factor behind Edge, what's going to kind of separate you apart from the others, is that you're going to email this link. Okay, so you're going to email this link. And by emailing that link, anytime your client clicks on the link, and I'm going to show you what a link looks like here in a second, okay, you will be notified through email that your presentation's been viewed and how long it's been viewed for. Okay, enable call button, I'll show you that inside the total cost analysis presentation. And in the very beginning here, and I'm going to just scoot over there really quickly, I mentioned about the partner email. And by putting your realtor's information in here, just as an example, okay, when I get to the end here, and I send Edge Alert to view partner, by putting my partner's email in there, they will receive that same alert I do every time this presentation is viewed. Gives you the opportunity to follow up with your client right away. Right now, when you're sending these attachments, you have no idea when they looked at it or if they even understand it. Well, now, you know when they look at it, and you can give them a call to make sure they do understand it. Okay? You can drop your quote date in there. Once you get to this section, you click Generate Link. Okay? This link here, right? This link that I'm highlighting here, you're going to copy that. You're going to paste that into an email and send it off to your clients. I think I have a generic email that I had up earlier that I'd like to bring up here. Okay, so this link here, I'll remove this link. And just an email, right? So many of you already have email template built like this, or some of you are just writing different emails all the time. Sometimes it can be long and lengthy, and your clients may not understand it. But if you have a generalized email like this, and you set one up for a purchase refi, you want to speak to your client, right? You want to talk to them through email. You don't want to make it too long. You want to just kind of get to the point. But I can drop that link in there, okay? So when this goes out to my client and they click on this, they can view the link from anywhere and everywhere. So from their desktop, from their laptop. When they do, your total cost analysis will appear. And let's open that up so you have an idea of what that's like. I'm going to click Edge Live. And this is what's going to appear, their total cost analysis. If they viewed it from a smartphone or tablet, it will prompt them to download the app, okay? And then once the app is downloaded on their free, and the app's free, of course, but once the app is downloaded on their phone, your presentation will open up, and then they'll be able to view it straight from their smartphone. Now you're in what we call Mortgage Coach Edge Live, okay? So let's just kind of paint the picture here, right? You send that email, they clicked on the link, they're viewing it, you received an email alert, you now give them the call to follow up with them, and you can now go over it with them. You don't have to join a webinar with them, screen connect, do any of that. You are inside of Mortgage Coach Edge, you clicked on Edge Live, and the same presentation you sent them through this link, It's the same presentation that opens up in Edge Live. The difference here, folks, is that you are live, meaning if I want to maybe highlight this FHA and the 25 monthly dollar savings, I can do that. By doing that, they're seeing it on their end. They're seeing these highlights. Okay. The analysis here that you're looking at is broken down into 4 quadrants: summary, monthly payment savings, savings over 60 months, excuse me, and then interest in MI paid over 15 years. Okay. If you recall, and I'm going right back into Edge, I'm going to close this out, and I go to my analysis screen. This is where we're finalizing everything for them. Okay, just making sure this is all correct, right, before we get to the final stage of this analysis here. Okay, under each quadrant here, okay, and I'm just going to use the summary section as an example. If I click on the More Info button, you have payment breakdown. So what I'm pointing out here is you're visually showing them. And on the analysis screen, you're showing them the charts and graphs with some number breakdown. But by clicking on each of the More Info tabs, it's giving them a full payment breakdown on each product / loan scenario you're showing them here, closing cost, okay? It'll bulk up your APRs and non-APRs. Or if you have your fee templates built in there and they click on fee detail, this is where your itemization will show. So once again, folks, everything is listed in here for you. That reinvestment strategy under the analysis screen inside of Edge, by adding that 125 in to the reduction payment, once again, we're showing them how to become mortgage debt free in 21 years. So the strategies you can show reinvest in that back into their principal reduction. Okay? If I needed to change, let's just say I need to change this rate. Okay, I can simply, so we're at 3.875. I can simply go back into Mortgage Coach Edge. I go into my product. I go into that FHA, and let's just say for training purposes, I change it to 3.5. I arrow through to refresh my screen and make that change, and if your client's viewing that on the other end, they'll see that rate change from 3.875 to 3.5. I can add on a third product if I wish. I can remove this entire product, and all that changes instantly for them. Okay. So at this point in time, what I like to do is answer up any questions. Let's kind of go through the questions here. Okay, this question is coming from Mike. In the analysis summary, can I make changes to the reinvestment grid? Okay, so great question, Mike. Hopefully, I can answer this question for you. So what Mike is asking for in the analysis summary screen. Okay, so I'm going to go back into Edge, analysis summary screen, and this in reinvestment grid. Okay, I want to make that change. Okay, so I click on this grid here, the same as making another change anywhere else. Let's just say now I want to change this back to $100. Okay. I click on the tab key or the enter key to make that change. I need to make sure that I click OK here. Okay, and then I arrow through. So now I refresh my screen. I go into right back into my analysis. Under the More Info button, under the reinvestment, this will then change from $125 back down to $100. Okay, so you can make those changes right in here as well. All right. So you always give it, internet connection here, right? You want to give it a few seconds to make that change, but that change will happen. Next question from Susanna. Susanna says, oh, good question, Susanna. So Susanna is asking for how do I add video? You talked about video narration. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to close this out really quickly, and I'm showing you video narration. I'm going right back into Mortgage Coach Edge, presentation, preview. Okay. Once again, I click Generate Link. So before I get into the video really quick, I can click Generate Link as many times as I like, folks. This link, that same link I showed you the email in, the one I highlighted here, I copied and pasted into that email, will always remain the same for this particular client. So the link will never change on you. The client can go back to this over and over again and view this. But while I'm in here, now I want to add audio video. So I click on that, okay. And my add audio video, I bet you because my screen was freezing up earlier. But I click on add audio video, and then listed down here, you would have record message button. You would click record message button, and a little screen will pop up in here, and you'll be able to basically, send a video through them. Advice on video. Number one, never be shy. Your clients are going to see you the same way they see you if you're meeting them in person. Number two, on the average, I see a recording roughly lengthwise about 1.5 to 2 minutes. We do allow you to record up to 5 minutes, but about 1.5 to 2 minutes is pretty general. And what I mean by that is, you're now talking to them about their loan scenarios. So think about your home buyers, right, or any client for that fact. They have many questions. It's our job to educate them. We are the professionals. We don't want them to rely on their third-party advisors, and their father-in-law is giving them all this information. I'm sure the father-in-law is great, and he's probably really smart, and he's older gentleman is probably, really well respected, but ideally, we are in the daily grind. We are mortgage professionals. We're giving them true advice here. And by sending them a total cost analysis and add in video in there, really separates yourself and takes you to the next level. You're already successful at what you're doing now. Now just add to your game and use Mortgage Coach Analysis to earn that additional, loan a month. Use Mortgage Coach Analysis to, help you from your clients not shopping you, or, cut down the talk to the third-party advisor and listen to you, the true advisor. So that's all I have for today, folks. Hopefully this was very helpful and valuable. Keep sending your questions in. There's a few more questions I couldn't get to, but I will respond to you guys and get back to you guys as well. I really appreciate that you took this time out and kind of, stood through the length of just kind of generalize and 4-minute total cost analysis at a beginner stage. I challenge you all to create 5 presentations, and if you wish and you like us to view them, you can email support@mortgagecoach.com, support@mortgagecoach.com, and send them to us, and we'll be happy to view them and send back our advice on any changes they make, or maybe you just nailed it right off the bat and they look great right from there. Thank you, everyone, and it was a pleasure doing this training for you today. Take care now.